it's crazy. Like all the connections that you make through like years ago. Like I haven't even talked to that person in person.
What person?
7-8 years. Well, I thought we were like live now. I don't know if we want to be dropping names and shit. Monica,
hell yeah! Shout out to Monica for
Friend of the show, Monica.
Huh?
friend of the show,
Friend of the show.
friend of the pod. Definitely, shout out to Monica. It's just all these crazy like relationships that I never thought about that one was that third, but they come back and just you've always had that relationship. It's just cool, you know. And when you move away, especially moved away from it, change that makes you see where relationships are. After you move away, people are around you. It's like, all right, you gotta, people will show you who you are. You tend to care more about like certain people as well as yourself, you know. And even once that surprise you like that, it's like, oh shit, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I care about you, my dude. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I care about you too. I care about y'all. You know what time it is? It's motherfucking 8:42-ish on September 17th, 2020. It's a Thursday. My name is Justin. To your left, my left, your right. That's going to be Steven. Fucked around and fucked me up even. Straight across from us, always, Eric.
Yo, what's up? How y'all doing?
Ooh, good. Doing good.
And it's the Lone Ranger vs. Tonto up in this motherfucker.
Ooh.
Shout out to...
Again, we're back. A week in a row. We had a little summer break, and now we're back on the regular schedule, and it's feeling good. Now we're live again, and so welcome everybody who's coming in with the live.
Just a quick shout out to... I'm going to need you to say the name of the show sponsor real quick.
Hell yeah. Do that commercial you have.
Oh, the commercial I have. I'll do one of them. I got a couple up here, but
let's see.
Definitely, as always, come through to the Beer Man. We're just
the Beer Man.
Just like not even half block west of Kipling on 26th, right there across from the big lake. It is one of my favorite spots to go for all kinds of beer. They're even getting a bigger selection now, but you got to go in there yourself. You can't find them on no place, but on the internet you can't find them no place. But go in there right off that block, show some love out there, some good friends, and sponsoring the podcast.
The podcast.
I think I need to do some vocal exercises.
Yeah,
I think you've been watching a little bit too much Cobra Kai.
Oh,
maybe that. Maybe too much Letterkenny. I don't know.
Was you fucking with Cobra Kai or no?
Yeah, I fucked with Cobra Kai. Like this first season was tough. Justin had to kind of get me through that. He had to give me a little tap on the ass and be like, "Hey, this is for the giant nerds like himself that like started, fan clubs and participated in them. All that was all him. That was all him. And then when he explained it was just for like the fanboys, I was like, all right, I can take some of this like cringy content. And then the second season came through with like some character development, some storyline shit that was like, what? And it was like, and the acting, like the dude who plays Hawk, like the actor,
great actor
that plays Hawk
fucking
is incredible. That whole fucking 2 seasons of where he starts to where he goes to where he ends up, like even in
you
there,
think
it's
I was
like,
a little corny?
Huh?
You don't think he was a little corny? He was probably the corniest part of the whole show.
Well, I mean, all of it's corny. Like,
hold
just
up now.
All of it's corny.
The rest of it's like a documentary, bro.
On what? Being lame?
Danny LaRusso.
Yeah, being lame. That's what I said. Fucking Danny LaRusso is the lamest part of that show. My least favorite character. Do not like it. That's a real person?
No.
What do you mean it's like a documentary?
Kid, now the Karate Adult. That's what they should have called that show, the Karate Adult.
He's the worst part of the show.
You think so?
Yeah, he like perpetuates all the worst things from his ego of like not being around Miyagi.
That was always what Danny did. That was where Mr. Miyagi's wisdom would always come in, because Danny was a little asshole, always understood everything the wrong way, because he didn't have his dad, and he had to move, and he didn't have no friends, and everybody was mean to him, so he took that against and used it in, as negativity. It fueled his negative vibe, and Mr. Miyagi came through and said, nah, my guy, listen here, my guy.
Yeah. But then they show how he like
wax
took
on,
his
wax off,
and he took
guy.
all the wax on and fucking built businesses and all this shit, and you see it all fall apart because it's not like really authentic, right? Like that's where he like comes because he's still like dealing with all this shit where he can't make the right decisions and can't let this shit go.
He's learning.
And I mean, it is, but you're also like, this is like 25 years later. And also you're learning with, he doesn't have the excuse that Johnny does because Johnny like threw away his life through those periods.
But he's having like, what do they call it on How I Met Your Mother? Revertigo. Where you,
I watched that show once all the way through. It was like, meh.
Oh man.
It's
Revertigo is when you revert back to the old character you were around old friends as soon as they're around. So like an old friend comes around, all of a sudden now you're like that. And then Revertigo in the show was hilarious because Lily went from being Lily, and then her black homegirl would come and she'd be like, "Oh girl, what's up?" And they'd start talking like that together, and she was like, "See, that's Revertigo." And Danny is having Revertigo because Johnny all up in his business.
Like I said, just in terms of like his decisions overall, though, lame. Like his ideas that are good decisions, lame. He's so lame. And the Cobra Kai is so much more badass, and that their like whole thing is I mean, I think the show can go places. Season 2 really convinced me that they put some more time into building some shit. Like some of the storylines that they built underneath are really good. And like I said, the acting though from day one, like you said that a bunch of the actors are original ones that are original characters. And then the people that they casted though, especially ones that like it was YouTube. Didn't you say it was like YouTube to start?
Yeah, YouTube TV. Or YouTube Red or whatever they called it when it first came out.
And so you think of like some of the like supporting actors in that series, and they're really the ones I think that shine the most. Like, maybe not. I think the main character Miguel, that actor has done a really good job, and I think that dude's like going through his like growth of being a human, and having to deal with like those challenges as an actor, and like your voice changing, your body changing, and like dealing with all that too, because you see him like really grow up through those like time periods when they recorded that physically, you know. And so I mean, the acting is just, that's the biggest thing that like held me in, is like through the season, where I was enjoying that, because like the first season story was not my thing.
To be honest, it was a lot more like the best way for me to describe the acting was like a Disney Channel movie with cussing.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little better than that, I would say, but it is on that level.
No, it was
where
just like Johnny Tsunami.
Yeah, but
Except
there are
for
some
cuss.
stars. There are some stars though, and it's better. I still think it's better, because you were telling me that, and I'm like, I still think it's a little bit better than some of the stuff that we grew up with. Maybe the Disney Channel shit now is like more poppin' and cool, but I don't know.
Have you heard the fucking beats for their intros and shit? It's wild. It's like the internet took over like what people thought was like cool for mainstream shit for these kids, and now you have these like nasty ass young ass producers producing shit for probably not getting nearly enough money for it, but fucking heat, boy, some bangers. And it's like, you know, the Princess Girl, and it's like some weird show, but it's like its intro fucking knocks. You're like, damn, this is off the hook. And every show's like that. I mean, maybe not everyone.
Can you imagine like growing up
growing
up in like the 70s when like intros were just that badass too, because it was like all that music that, you know, we hear now. It's like, oh, okay, whatever, but it was probably that badass then too. I don't know. 80s probably had some good ones. 90s.
I don't know. We had trash ass music. Whatever hip hop they would bring on was awful, except for that one time. All that brought Coolio, and then they did TLC.
That was a legendary. All that. Oh. I feel like every kid our age.
Wait. Coolio might not have did it. Might have just been TLC, and Coolio did My Cousin Skeeter.
No, I think that was way after Coolio's time.
Coolio did My Cousin Skeeter. Look that up.
I'll look that up. In the meanwhile, we have a comment from Jeremy Chada saying, I don't know if I said that
Dr.
right.
Chada, what's
Dr.
up?
Chada.
Chada.
I don't know what I'm
Is
saying
Chada or
about that.
Chada Asaf?
I'm going to need you to spell how you say your last name.
We need a phonetic spelling, doctor.
He said, I think season 1 was intended to, referring about Cobra Kai, play off of that nostalgia, and then it caught fire, and the second season was taken serious.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could agree with that.
I don't know.
I could agree with that. I mean, I feel like that's what I've been saying.
I mean, isn't that kind of the case for every single show, though?
No.
Every single show. Yeah, every single show. Well, unless it's a drama.
Not shows that like come out of like movie spin-off shits like this. This is like its own genre of like
It's Karate Kid food.
yeah, which has had its own spin-off movies with a Smith kid in it. Oh, speaking of the Smith kid,
That wasn't a
just saw
spin-off.
on,
They did a remake, and it wasn't even karate. It was kung fu.
it was
the
not the
spin-off.
Kung Fu Kid.
But it would. I'll tell you right now, Jackie Chan does not teach karate. He's not Japanese. He teaches kung fu. So he taught Jaden Smith kung fu, and they called it the Karate Kid. And I think maybe even in the movie somebody makes fun of him, calls him the Karate Kid or something, like as a joke maybe. But otherwise, besides that, he was doing kung fu. Shout out to Jackie Chan.
I do love Jackie Chan a lot.
Shout out to quick Dr. Chad. It's like Chad with an A.
Chada.
Oh, it's Chad.
Chada.
Oh,
Man, Chada's better. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dr. Chada.
Also, you asked me to look up, fact check that whatever that song was.
Coolio, Cousin Skeeter.
That's what it was. Thank you. I will be right back.
yeah.
Yeah, Cousin Skeeter. Definitely was what that theme song was done by Coolio.
Oh, the theme song.
Yeah,
yeah.
the
I didn't
intro.
really. Yeah, I thought you just meant like guest
Yeah.
appearances on that
Nah,
shit.
and those were the only times that there was type music in them shows. Otherwise, I mean, I remember a gang of those intros, but it was only because I watched them so many times. It's not like they were tight.
Nah, they were tight. Like the Smart Guy intro. I feel like that one. I don't remember it, but I remember it being like fun. But then you got ones like Family Matters that were just like the intro for Full House. I feel like those intros are always just the same, but you know, WB versus like I don't even know what the Family Full House was on back in the day.
Oh, that was on TGIF, boy.
TGIF.
TGIF.
Thank God it's Friday.
Oh yeah.
Thank
Or
God
thank
it's
gosh.
for
I think
family.
it stands
Full
for
House
Thank
was
Gosh
on
it's
there?
Friday.
What was it called? Step by Step was on there.
Step by step.
What's the Neighbors one? Oh man, I forgot his name.
What about that one with you mean the Home Improvement? Do you mean Home Improvement?
No, well, Home Improvement it might have been on there later on, but definitely was at some point. So was Boy Meets World, but there was before those. There was a joint called oh man, it was like the foreign dude and the homie with the hair. God, oh man, y'all don't remember this fucking show? What the fuck?
I
was
mean,
it?
so far you've
foreign
given
dude
us some.
with
Ask
homie
it. I
with the
bet
hair.
Dr. Chatter know. Dr. Chatter, what the fuck was that show with the goofy ass, the foreign ass neighbor dude? It was called like not the Neighbors or some shit. I don't fucking
Foreign
remember.
ass neighbor dude.
Yeah, some boy. I don't remember.
I'll look that up here in a second. Or while he's looking it up, I just want to say that the theme song to Cousin Skeeter was sung by one of the last girl groups of the '90s, 702.
702.
Perfect Strangers. You don't remember Perfect Strangers, boy?
What?
Keenan and Kel.
Oh,
That
shout out
intro
to
was
Keenan
by
and Kel.
Coolio, and all that was TLC.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what he said. Yeah.
yeah. That's
But do
true,
you
boy.
love orange soda, Justin?
I do. No, you know what's
Shout out to Keenan and Kel.
dude, fucking one of my favorite fucking references is like movie references to make is from Good Burger when you know he gives him the contract and shit about shit to do and Kel takes it and goes oh I know some of these words.
One of my favorite parts of that movie is when some dude tells him to like wash his ass as a threat, and he starts like spinning around like
Yeah.
a dog looking at his butt. I don't know. I mean, it's not a good joke, but it
Told
was
me to watch my
hilarious.
Such a great movie.
So I showed Lime that shit as soon as he was like TV7, you know. He loved it.
TV7. What does that mean?
Nothing. That's why it's a fucking joke, dude.
Oh, I don't know what it means. Oh, you
Means-
talking about like the rating?
Yeah.
TV7.
Yeah.
Forgot that was a thing. See, can't remember everything, I guess. I remember Perfect Strangers, though. Actually, I don't remember. I just searched TGIF shows.
I don't remember that show. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Pretty sure you're making some shit up.
Nah, man. It was this foreign dude, and there was this other dude, and he was always annoyed at the foreign dude, and
Sounds like that Clint Eastwood movie.
yeah, it probably was a remake of that, just a sitcom. They turned that into a sitcom.
Years before it came out.
Yeah, that's probably might have been the inspiration.
Gran Torino was the prequel
Oh, I was
to
going to talk
Perfect
about Gran
Strangers.
Torino. I had no idea what you were
That's what I was talking about.
I had no idea. I was like, oh, just
Have you
hopefully
watched
some
that
cool
movie?
shit.
Hopefully some cool shit.
It's not. I mean, it's fucked up movie. It's fucked up. Yeah.
What?
Have you watched it?
What, Gran Torino? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But how about let's talk about this beer and then we'll talk about Gran Torino.
Oh, we don't need to talk about Gran Torino at all. We can talk about this beer right now.
All right, yeah. Tell me all about it. What is this?
This is a lager from Dry Dock.
Where'd it come from?
Dry Dock. Aurora, I guess. Aurora, Colorado. That's where they're out of. Shout out to Dry Dock for... I love them for what they're doing. They're a great brewery, Aurora. They do lots of shit. But mostly I love them because right next door to the original brewery is the Brew Hut, where it is one of the only places you can still go and buy like shit to brew beer in Denver. A bunch of those places have closed
Is it owned
recently.
by them?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's all this. I mean, they're like literally connected. There's
Whoa.
right in between. Yeah, it was high. But right there, right in between, and so you can like grab a beer, eat some popcorn, go get some supplies, get your fucking brew day ready. It's a good spot. And like I said, a lot of those spots have closed. One of my favorite ones that was open just closed off of Broadway. The one off of Wadsworth closed. It's a tough. They're not a.
You think they'll
place.
be back eventually?
No. It's not a hobby that I don't know if it deserves stores that can compete with online stores now. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm glad that they're getting a free show today.
But I just want to let y'all know, or let Justin know that actually, Dr. Chada, I don't know what's up with my pronunciation right now. He knew that I was a cousin, Balky, from
Cousin Balky.
Perfect Strangers. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
No
boy.
idea. You knuckle chatter.
What's up?
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
You know what it was? Because you didn't watch TV when you were in Minnesota.
I did watch a lot of TV when I was in Minnesota,
Is
but I was mostly out, fishing on boats and
Fishing
things
on
like
boats?
that.
on both? I don't know. One thing I do know is that this is 3 carbs.
Yeah, and that's
Three
the shit that
Three
makes me suspect about
Carbs.
What's that mean?
any beer that right now there's a big push to put beers out that are low calorie beers, right? And the only reason that you would put how many calories are on your beer is because you want to appeal to that market.
Cool.
And it's fine, but it just generally means that their direction of quality is in one direction, and it's for
The West.
general taste.
The
And I
West
think that's
side.
exactly
The West,
how this
yeah.
beer tastes.
You said calories. This is carbs. I'm wondering how they do that because isn't just beer liquid bread?
Yeah, they do it. There's a couple ways I know that they do it, and then I'm sure that they found other ways. So the original way is to use things that aren't just wheat or like really like strong carbs that are going to add a lot of carbs to it. So something like corn, corn would be something that you'd add a lot to. That's why we drink Bud Light. You can tell the taste similarities here where it probably does taste like there's corn because it's a really clean thing to ferment. Doesn't add a lot of flavor to it. And you can get a low calorie, low carb product at least out of there. And then there's also like ways to use like a carbon filter to pull carbs out like they do out of like
you
other
just put
shit.
it through a carburetor. Yep.
Right through you need to get yourself like a 57, 58 Chevrolet, before they went
year.
fuel injected and, just put it right there in the carburetor.
So that's where they all went. You know what? I've been looking for that specific urine model. Haven't found them. The only thing I found on Facebook Marketplace is a having breakfast burrito.
Yeah, there's a dude that keeps just sharing shit. Have you seen that shit at all? Does it pop up in yours? This motherfucker is not a half-eaten burrito, half-eaten pizza.
My
half-eaten
favorite one was
fries,
a quarter bowl of Cocoa Puffs.
all kinds of bullshit. And this motherfucker has flooded this shit with listings for his half-eaten food. It's wild.
And he's like a local cat, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
like a Denver thing.
Oh
that-
yeah.
Pop it off. Hilarious.
Oh man, I thought I had it saved, but I guess I don't.
That shit was funny.
That's
dude.
all right though. And to everybody watching, 5 people live right now. We appreciate you guys. If you guys want us to talk about anything, let me know, and
Yeah,
we might bring it up if it's cool.
maybe.
We'll
If
probably,
it ain't-
yeah.
If it ain't on that bullshit,
If it ain't on that bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Justin stays off that bullshit.
I don't even be on that bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't even be with that bullshit.
I will get on it every once in a while, so just be careful.
You be on that bullshit.
Sometimes.
Ain't that some shit, boy? Ain't that some George W. bullshit?
Ugh.
Oh
You know.
man. You know what? Something that we haven't talked about in a minute.
What's up?
Music.
I was
How
thinking
y'all
the same
feeling
thing.
about music? Yeah. What's
I like music.
what y'all been listening to? What's been new? What's
I've
good?
been listening to a lot of that new Charlie Crockett. I've been enjoying that album. Came out
with
of
Charlie
about
Crockett. Heavy.
dang near a month ago though. What else have I been listening to?
Man,
I've been listening to some older stuff, I think, and
Apollo Brown,
Oh,
And
that's a good name to drop.
Che Noir. I think that's how you say her name. It's Apollo Brown is this nasty ass producer, and Che Noir. I think that's how you say her name. I might have that entirely fucked up. I have no idea. I've only read it, but she's nasty. And I had read her name before, but I'd never like heard her before. And she did an album with this motherfucker, and it's
Album?
slaps. Oh yeah,
Ooh.
the whole thing, and it's hard. And it's like, you know, you gotta fuck with hip
What
hop.
was the last one that you
It's on
told
some-
me
it's on
about?
some hip-hop
Apollo
shit.
Brown and someone else. You told me that's what.
Locksmith. There
That
was
was it,
Apollo
Locksmith.
Brown, and
Mhm.
I know his name. What's his name, boy? I know his name.
Come
Apollo
on,
Brown
man.
did one with somebody else recently. But hold up, no, hold on.
Come on, think of it. You got this.
This is some
Yeah.
bullshit.
Pull out his phone again.
This is some
I
bullshit.
could
gotta
ask this
check.
dude right now. What year did the movie Beethoven come out? And you'll get it plus or minus one, but he's got to look this shit up.
Probably like 1992.
Look it up, Eric. Will you look it up? Beethoven.
1992.
movie.
Final answer.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. No. No way. It was 1992.
Yeah, I know.
God damn
Told
it.
you. He's always plus or minus a year. You give him a movie plus or minus
See,
a year, or he's right on.
I have expected it for like, I mean, not that type of movie specifically.
It's a
That's-
classic, buddy.
yeah.
Beethoven. There's 4 of them.
Oh, for
5 of
sure.
them, probably.
Is that the one where?
He did one with Joel Ortiz. That's what I was gonna say. But hold up, the person I'm trying to look for.
Beethoven. No, that was
Sky
no.
Zoo. Fuck.
That's the
Sky
one.
Zoo.
Oh yeah, the Sky Zoo one. I think is the one
Yeah.
I was mentioning. Yes, that's a good one.
Yes, sir. Anyways, Apollo Brown and Che Noir is off the hook.
I want to ask about something that might be off the hook, coming from shout out Beto, Sunnyside Accounting. Bringing up that El Fantasma dropped a new CD. I haven't heard
I don't know.
albums referred to as it's a corrido guy, and he also
okay.
asked me to ask you about punk rock mariachi.
punk rock mariachi.
Like Mariachi El Bronx.
Like mariachi out Bronx. Well, y'all ever fuck
Like
with mariachi
maybe
out Bronx?
Flor de Toloche, but they're not really punk rock, but they're just like a nice mix of both cultures, I think, or just like different cultures.
But mariachi out Bronx is a punk band.
They were a punk band.
No,
I thought.
they are still. So they're the punk band, the Bronx. And then they just put out an album like last year or something like that. And then they'll go like the next year, they'll put out an album as Mariachi out Bronx.
Is it the same album?
Same dudes.
Well,
No, it's
same
not
dudes.
No,
but
no,
is
it's
it
not the same album at all.
Just
They're like
in a different.
It's like 2 different groups from the same group. And so one of them is a punk band, and I think it's like an 8-piece punk band. And one of them is I might be making that up. And one of them is a mariachi band. And I know that's like over 10-piece mariachi band.
I've only heard a little bit of the Bronx and a lot more of Mariachi El Bronx because I dig it. But
well, you gotta like punk, it's like, you know.
I do like punk. That's what like got me into like music in the first place was punk when I was a lot younger, like middle school, early
Is that
high
right?
school.
What kind of punk?
Political punk and all kinds of just fucking punk rock. You know,
I don't know
older
much
stuff,
about
Dead
punk, to be honest.
Kennedys, fucking the Casualties, just like all that like kind of like gutter punk stuff and
I know some of those words.
yeah. I mean, I
Shout
don't.
out to
I'll
10 minutes
occasionally
ago.
listen to some of it now, but I got into hip hop after that, and kind of just took off into that direction. But I still appreciate punk. Like, there's some fun shit going on still there, and people doing fun stuff. I think in those scenes.
I think like political rock, like punk, I haven't heard as much of. Green Day being like one of the biggest ones. Their new albums are right.
You should look up Anti-Flag.
They have a new album?
It dropped like last year.
Wait, who?
Green Day.
Green Day has a new album. How old are these motherfuckers?
Old as
I
motherfucker.
don't know. There's just another turning point in your life, and
But
The fork stuck in the road.
yeah, that was a great album. Pop punk though.
I just can't believe you called that political punk, dude.
You don't know.
They are though. That whole album was about George Bush.
Ooh,
That's political.
That is political.
Was it? What album are you even talking about? Like Boulevard of Broken Dreams or some shit? That sounds like George Bush.
Yeah, no. I mean, that whole album is
Like George Strait.
George Strait.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off, Eric.
It's all right. He's on the looks up. Well, gosh.
So you ain't fucking with that Big Sean, huh?
American Idiot was
I
the
haven't
album.
even heard it. Yeah.
That Big Sean
I
go.
need to get on that Big Sean. Detroit too, right?
American who?
American Idiot was the album. The Green Day album about George Bush. They wrote after 9/11, I believe.
What was the hit?
Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, for real?
I mean, American Idiot. The whole bunch, like the first, I'll say like 4 or 5 songs are big.
The other thing was their big album, the one that they really got, because like Dookie was their first one that I thought was a really good album. You go back and listen to that one. But then after that shit came out, and then I think they put out another one, and it was just like, I was never really a fan in the first place. And then the other shit came out, and I was like, oh no, this is not what I'm really into.
Yeah, wasn't my thing.
But yeah,
Can't
check
say
out
it was my thing.
Anti-Flagger. I used to listen to a lot of shit on Anti-Flag Records. I don't even know if that exists anymore. But it was just a bunch of like political punk shit. But it's like the level of political that like Immortal Technique is compared to the level of shit, Green Day is. And the difference there. A lot more fun. But
Hell yeah.
According to Wikipedia, punk rock or Anti-Flag Records is still active.
I think
That's
they're still a
good to know.
band. I think they're still even a band.
They old as fuck. They got to be old as fuck.
Old
They are.
as fuck.
Because they were like, I mean,
They play
It's
louder
been-
and
they're
louder
an older
'cause they
band.
can't hear.
yeah, they're an older band too. Because I think they started in like the late 80s, early 90s. And they were like original group of 3. And then it turned into like different people and 4. And they're still like rhythm and all this shit. But,
It's tight.
all of it grows and does different shit. And the 90s were a fucking weird time for, I think, folks that were, Eric's age then.
Eric, do you remember the
Barely
90s?
born? Not at all.
What are you talking about?
That would have been my first 3 years.
I'm talking about people who are 23 now.
Oh, okay.
Or
I
not
get you.
23 now, that are like 43 now.
Oh, 43 now.
43.
People who were Eric's age now in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, I
okay.
get what you
Fucking
mean.
sad.
I hear you. Well, I didn't understand the
I
context.
just had to like
shit.
put
You
that verbal comma in there for y'all.
Look, I got my headphones in. It might be a little too loud.
You know what I'm talking about?
Loud.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
What are we supposed to be blazing? Loud? I don't have another one roll. Do I got to roll another one? Somebody requesting loud?
Somebody
blaze.
requesting loud.
I'll blaze right
Somebody
now.
put a like on there. I'll roll another one for a like.
Oh, actually, from the last one, we had an idea of doing a drinking game whenever one of us said, fuck it, we'll do it live, because we're doing it live. Nobody said it last time. Nobody said it this time. So if y'all
Yeah.
hear it from now on, y'all want to play along.
You fucking want to play along. If you're watching, you got to play along.
Well, we should do something we actually say though.
Well, fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck. Or no. What do we actually say?
I don't know.
We say all kinds of shit.
I think it would be more apt to do it because it's not too often, but it happens almost every other episode.
Every time we say Guy Spencer.
No, every time you say West Side.
West Side?
Well, I
Yes.
mean, we can't do that before.
You said West and West Side earlier. Already.
I'm not talking about
That's
me.
a drink.
It's just you saying it. Because you'll
Yeah.
cap things off like you'll put a comma in there as a West Side, or a West Side as a comma, or a period, or an exclamation point sometimes.
It typically means I lost it, so I go back to what I know. The direction is the West Side, and I'm talking about.
Drink.
Oh, I got lost. Fucking West Side.
See?
Starting officially the podcast, we used to have a rule of Justin try to fit in at least 5 West Sides a podcast. So
Yeah. I wasn't trying. It just
Priya?
pre.
Oh, Pre?
Yeah,
oh,
my bad.
Pre. I have a friend named Priya, and I was like, what the fuck is Priya doing watching this?
I thought you were talking about Prius. I was like, is that what you call this one?
Miscommunication
Is it Priya?
all around. Her name is Priya, yeah.
Anyways, we have a comment from Dr. Chada about asking, how do you like being live versus pre-recorded?
I like that it's gonna be less to edit.
Yeah, it's not too different for me. It's cool to like see people interact. I dig that. That's really cool. So thank you, Dr. Chatta. And also thank you for the follow on Instagram last week. I see you, buddy.
Hell yeah, we be out here and shit. What about you, Eric? You're the one who matters.
I know you're the
We're
one
just sit
the
here.
one that has to do all the work. I just sit here literally all the time and just let these two do all the like back end stuff, and I sit here just like this and just wait patiently. And Eric, I rushed him today and I made him mess up a bunch of stuff. That's why it took us a while to get on. It was my fault, really, Eric. But yeah, how do you feel about this going live shit? Because it's no different to me.
This is fun to switch cameras. I just gotta press up and down, but sometimes I forget where I'm at. So y'all see me keep going back to my camera with the intro animation. My bad. I'm still trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah. Does it have music?
No.
All right, that's cool because the music be fucking with shit, boy.
All right.
The music's tight though. Shout out to P Docs.
Shout out to P Docs. Hope he's doing well throughout all this.
Yeah.
Haven't talked to him in a minute since we had him on the podcast. That must have been episode
Like 8, 7, 6.
something like
I think
that.
it was 6. It was a gang ago.
Yeah. But look into that episode and the last episode for a little bit of lore into the name of the episode or name of the podcast, because I think we talked about it in both of them a little bit. Maybe, I don't know how much of the beginning of DJ's podcast we talked about it, but serendipitously, he picked that book up that day. Remember what I'm talking about? You remember.
Yeah, you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told him to pick a book, and he chose
Was that on there?
The Lone Range.
Or did that get cut out of the...
No,
final?
it was
No,
on
that
there.
should have been on it.
It was on there. What was it called?
I
You
don't
didn't look it
remember.
up? Oh, I
No,
thought that's what
I
you
was trying to.
doing. Oh, my bad. I thought that's what you was doing.
That's all right. I had a question for you guys. I was listening
I
to
got
this
an answer.
podcast, and maybe y'all are familiar with this because a documentary came out recently with Paris Hilton and talking about like I don't even know what it's on, like platform, but talking about her like experience in these camps and these like schools that exist in the West and like really all over the United States at one point and other countries around the United States, but still exist throughout the West now. That she talks about. You guys are familiar at all with this?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, let me
Camps?
ask you this before I even
Like
start
holes?
with no
Like that kind of camp?
ish, yeah. But do you guys know anybody who was like sent away to some kind of like rehabilitation camp where it's like pretty serious, well, do you guys know anybody like that it was like taken away? They might have spent like anywhere from 3 months to 3 years with like no, or like until they were 18 with like no contact back with you,
I'm
anything
from the
like
hood.
that.
Kids went to juvie.
Right. And that was kind of the first thing that I kind of thought of. I was like, I don't know
You know what I'm talking
nobody.
about?
Because do you know what I'm talking about?
No, it sounds like, fortunately, I don't know anyone that's been through that.
That sound like some shit that they put in movies where you're like, damn, that's not real.
Oh, you do.
Fools go to juvie.
It totally sounds like that. And I was taken back by this because I'm not familiar with this shit at all. And my first reaction was the same. I was like, I don't know no people who can send their kids away to schools because they've been bad. That's what they expect, like, the schools and police to do. And so it was a little foreign for me because even, like, the person who was in the podcast was somebody who got sent there to one of those fucking places.
Mm-hmm.
And they still exist today. They still are funded by, like, people who are in the, like, you know, people that we know, like Mitt Romney. A lot of them are based in Utah because the education
Are
laws
they
are
like
real
a
fucking
cult?
lax. Kinda. They get into this like cult. Like, I don't know what the documentary is with Paris Hilton, but she talks about it. Where essentially what they do is they run these schools. They're called like boarding schools, right? That's their like overall thing. But their first thing is they like break your societal like norms and bonds and like make you do like crazy survival shit, drop you off in the woods and shit and that kind of stuff. And then they like run these it's fucking wild. And like when I heard this dude talking about all this shit, and he's like, I bet everybody listening to this probably knows one person at least that's been through it. And I'm like, no, I don't even. It just sounds like you got to be towards a tier of people, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just don't. I never associated with people who made 5 times the income my family did, right? That would be able, or even 3 times the income my family did. You know, to make something like that happen, and it's wild. But even some of those motherfucking schools are based here in Colorado. None of them are like Denver. This is more like Western Slope shit. This happens in Idaho, Montana, still Utah. It's these kind of places, and Paris Hilton has this whole fucking thing where you might remember. I know you remember the Paris Hilton fucking show. But that was like a whole fucking character that she comes in this documentary and talks about, like, she was so psychologically disturbed and like fucked up from this experience that character came out of that experience that she had. And like, it's fucking wild, dude. And hearing about this, not even watching the documentary, I was curious if you guys ever had any experiences like that. Anybody else knows anybody else who's like been in any of these like boarding schools that they're not like your boarding school, military school like that. It's like next level. And the other country shit was they existed. So there was something called this happened in California in the 60s that was like referred to as a cult, but it's not the Jim Jones shit that you immediately think of California fucking like 70s 60s era, right? It's not that shit. It's not Jim Jones, but it's
Is it Herbalife?
No,
Sounds like Herbalife.
I think it's Herbalife was later. Herbalife was later. It's Cinna. It sounds like cinnamon. That's all I can remember. Gosh. Cinnagate.
Oh, Cinnabon.
No, it's not Cinnabon. I want a Cinnabon. But
If somebody started a Cinnabon cult,
it was like this
might accidentally
1960s
join.
shit. But no, that shit was crazy. They would like abduct heroin addicts off the street and then fucking like try and rehabilitate them in their style. And the people who did that shit ended up the people who were the disciples of those people who did that in California. California, right? Those people who were under the people running that gosh, I wish I could remember the name.
Cinnabar.
CJ Cinnabar. Whatchamacallit? CJ Johnson says Children of God. Is that the one?
Children of God, I think, was Jim Jones, wasn't it? Wasn't that the Jim Jones shit?
I don't know anything about anything.
California had some weird shit going on in the 60s. We could be talking about different shit, but it's not Children of God either. But Cinnagate,
Cinnabon. Cinnabar.
Fuck, man, you already said both of those things. You're not being helpful anymore. You weren't helpful in the first place. That's what it was. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a California school that...
yeah.
If you look up Children of God, you get the Family International is a cult. Leader was Karen Zerby, and the founder was David Berg.
Oh, no, that. Yeah, he's right. That's different shit. Still have... what was the name of the one that was out here? It was like Rocky Mountain Academy or some shit like that. It got shut down a long time ago, but something like that was the one here. And then, so what spawned from the California shit was the people who took that same model and then built it into more of like this, like the same thing we run into with schools that can try and operate as businesses and schools at the same time, charters and all this shit that the Secretary of Education is doing right now to try and privatize education. It's just this extreme part of that's there that is very low regulation because, like, from what they say, it operates, if you look at, like, their sheets and how everything goes, they operate most like a prison and where they don't let these kids leave. They are out of contact with their families for months at a time. They use solitary confinement. They use restraints. They use all these fucking, like, terrible things. And people pay money for their kids to go to these things because they convince them that if they don't, their kid is going to die from their actions, and that it's a fucked up thing, right?
Hell yeah.
Really fucked up. And it's something that I didn't even know about. And they like tie this shit back where the fucking company and shit that like Mitt Romney runs out in Utah. It's got a big old famous name too. It's like Bates something or other. But they own a bunch of these schools. You know?
Are they
and
masters?
Huh?
Are they masters?
Master what?
Debates.
Master debates? Yeah.
Yeah.
Masturbates.
That was terrible. CJ
great.
Johnson says, sounds like forced assimilation at tribal boarding schools.
Yes, and some of this shit does have a connection with like people who look like me who try and act like they've like been awakened by the spiritual spirits of native like folks and shit like that, and then they just do that, but then abuse all these children as well because all these like fucking places have thousands of cases of sexual abuse against them, of why they get closed, and they all end up getting shut down. Really, what it finds out is that they exist in like Jamaica and Mexico and like Costa Rica.
You just
and
said
then,
it was in Idaho, boy.
Oh, those are the ones now. Those are the ones now. The ones that existed before, they were in the United States, like more heavily in the West. They were all over the United States.
So what are you talking about Jamaica?
Because they put them in those places. And the reason they got shut down is because the local governments, the Jamaican government, the Mexican government, came in and shut those fucking places down because they were like, kids were trying to escape. They're fucking killing kids. There's multiple reports of kids dying throughout all these places and shit. It's fucking wild.
Hell yeah, it's fucking wild, B.
And they get shut down in these other places because those other governments shut them down because they realize something funny's going on. It's not this normal American company coming down here fucking just running islands for adults to rape kids. You know, in other places, they're fucking coming in here and fucking abusing these children and fucking breaking their minds. Breaking their minds to a whole nother level where if you've watched the Paris Hilton shit, now it's like, oh my gosh, I feel bad for ever making fun of her. But also like, oh, it makes so much more sense. Your mind was fucking broken by some fucked up shit. And it's fucking wild. Like, I had no idea any of this shit was going on. I don't know nobody. That's like the next tier of...
Well, they did that to the natives, but it was all forced upon all the kids, and they did it in the name of assimilation. And so they took those kids from their parents, put them in them Catholic boarding schools and all kinds of stuff, made them do all kinds of funny things, and didn't let them speak their languages or pray to their gods, do anything with that had to do with their culture, and
I mean,
they were beating all the time. This kids motherfucking died. Yo, they're always doing. There was 2 within the last decade, both over by like Vancouver and Washington and shit, where they digging up, like doing renovations and shit by these fucking boarding schools, and they find these mass graves of all these kids.
And
mass graves, B. Just kids just tossed.
And that shit, and that was
trash,
rampant in that time, right? And now we're looking at a time where it's easier to hide because the population is so much larger. We see so many more people because these schools will come in, build a school, dump a bunch of money into a place, bunch of jobs, and they'll put it in the fucking middle of nowhere, Montana, where they can easily, like, they have a lot to lose if they lose something like that school. And they don't even know what's going on there. But it's employing people. It's employing fucking custodians. It's employing, because they bring in all those other fucking crazy people that will like teach them, which are the graduates of those fucking programs. You know, they just cycle through those, and then there's people who can't. I mean, it's gross. Like, although the entire system, if you look into all this shit, this isn't a podcast about it. You know, I don't know all the fucking names and shit about that, but
actually,
it's
just
fucking
real quick,
wild.
Shout out to Dr. Chada with the knowledge. Chada. My bad. I'm so sorry.
Chad.
Dude. Bringing up that the name is CEDU Education.
That's it.
And CDU EU origins go back to Cyanon.
Cyanon. That's the shit that sounds like
cult
cinnamon.
founded in Santa Monica in 1958.
I bet that fool came from that. Guaranteed.
It's fucking wild,
Guaranteed.
dude. It's
Dr.
wild.
Chada was there. That's why he knows all
Or he
that
knows
shit.
folks. He probably knows folks.
Because
in California, that shit was fucking...
That ran it,
that's
they
the shit
told
that
him
they
what
did
to
that.
Because they was like,
That's
Jeremy,
crazy that... I don't know if he
your
came
ass
off the
over
top
here,
with that shit or if he had to like fucking do a Google. But fuck yeah, Dr. Chada coming through with the knowledge.
Hell yeah.
You want to know what it sounded like to me when you first started bringing it up? You ever heard of the show Kid Nation?
What the fuck is Kid Nation?
Oh my God! So Kid Nation was a TV show that they ran for a season, where they took children, put them out in like a desert like city town, had them run everything.
They did Lord of the
It's like a
Flies?
Marit-
It was like 7 to
on
4,
fucking
but it was like
that level.
I think the youngest was like 6 to 14 years old.
Wow.
They were out there alone, aside from like the camera people, like making sure that like
They don't.
they didn't die. Yeah, but like the rest of it, like
Were they banging? Did they fight?
Banging was the wrong fucking, colloquialism there, buddy.
No, that's definitely not. When I don't ever say banging as a euphemism for fucking ever. Just so we're clear, banging is either that's tight, that's banging.
That's enough from
This
them
shit
going
slaps, that shit bangs. Or they're fighting, they're banging, they shooting, they banging. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You taking shots at me on the low, you banging? What's up? Motherfuckers throwing up gangs like gang banging? What you gonna do? Anyways, what you laughing about? What people saying over there talking shit?
Dr. Chad has seen that show, apparently.
Damn, he runs the fan club. Boy, he knew
He runs-
everything about it.
Oh
just
man,
wild.
I found out about it from a TikTok, and then like a month later, one of the kids that was on the show like showed up on my like For You page, on there like, and
On
he like
your what page?
on the For You page. That's what they call the timeline on TikTok. But that kid was like the youngest one that was on the show that left like on the first day, because like at the end of the day, like if they wanted to leave, they could leave. But yeah, he was just talking about his experience on there, and then, like it just sounded crazy.
That shit's wild. How long have you been on the internet, Eric?
Since I was in 4th grade, so however old that is.
How old are you in 4th grade? You're probably about 9.
About that.
So when were you born?
97.
So we're talking 2006. So you've been on the internet since 2006.
Yeah, sounds
MySpace
about right.
was around already.
Yeah, I knew people that had it.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
thing by the time you
Uh-huh.
was already getting online. Okay.
It was dying out by the time that I actually fully got online.
Yeah, man, I've been on the internet a long time, boy. Long time. I remember all kinds of goofy things. You don't remember Ask Jeeves, I bet.
No, that was like right before me.
Yeah, you don't remember Ask Jeeves.
Oh yeah, no. When I first got on there, I was terrified of fucking shit up, so I wouldn't go to anything. I tried going to like Neopets or something like that, but that didn't work on the computer that we had at home.
Damn. That's unfortunate. Back
When
in
I
the day,
found-
that was a big thing.
Ooh, but when I found out about copy and paste though, that shit was tight. Oh, was it like Control-C, Control-V? What the fuck?
That shit's hard.
I
mean,
teach
that's-
adults that shit now, and it blows their fucking minds.
I'm so
Keyboard
sorry.
shortcuts. Dude.
Yeah, motherfuckers is it's hard to teach, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, they're all willing to learn, though. That's the easy part.
That's good. That is good. Yo, what the fuck were we just talking about? Oh, how long you been on the internet, boy?
Dang. Must be... I think my first instance with the internet was probably in the mid-90s.
All right.
But I wasn't, like, in the internet. I was just kind of there doing some, like, low-key, nothing cool. And then I got on the internet probably in, like, 2000, 2001. Stealing music, software, all that stuff. Like, getting to know a little bit more about, like, oh, I had, like, a restricted internet before.
Mini clip and shit like that, playing the games and shit, or no?
Ooh, that was a joint.
I played some games. What's that one with the alien homonym or something like that?
I don't remember none of the names. I remember the helicopter one. I remember the worm. Of course, the worm one was amazing on that, but I don't remember, to be honest. Oh, I remember there was this one I used to play in high school. We used to go to the library, and we'd all line up, and we would all play at the same time, trying to see who could go the farthest. And it was this game where you're a running fucking football dude, and you're just running around like dudes that are standing in the thing. So it's one of those, you're basically just going like that. But like as you got farther, it got faster and faster, and boom, bang, and we'd be fucking going, be like fucking 15,000 yards.
Just an endless football field.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It was
That's
tight.
cool. Yeah, no, for me, I think my generation most relates to cool math games. The only website, like one of the few websites that like DPS allowed that had games on it, and it was incredible.
Yeah, because those games rarely had shit to do with math.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
Everybody at my school used to go to my website to run the games, because my website wasn't blocked because they didn't understand how to block stuff like that. But they had blocked the game stuff. But I would just embed them on my shit.
See, you're the reason that it ruined it for me, because I tried doing that. It didn't work out.
Oh yeah, they must have caught me after that. After I graduated,
Spread out the memo to the rest of the
They were
school
like, "Oh,
districts.
shit." Calling all schools.
We have
a
just
code,
discovered
Jay.
the hacker.
We have a code, Jay.
Be on the lookout for websites that are just embedding the games in theirs that aren't blocked. These kids are running rampant. 14,000 yards, they said.
Please stop teaching them so well.
They didn't teach me. I taught myself that shit.
Myself.
By the time I got to web design class, I finished the class in 3 days. She gave me all the assignments, and I was like, give them to me. Finished them in 3 days.
Yeah, it's because Justin made like secret deals with teachers to get out of work.
No, that was because I did their work. And I didn't do it to get out of work. The boy offered it.
The boy offered it.
And I was chilling, and I'm walking through the fucking hallway, and I get stopped, and Mr. Duncan, we'll call him. Mr. Duncan pulled me aside, go, hey man, I heard you know what's up with websites. And I'm like, yeah, Mr. Duncan.
I do know what's up with the
As a matter of fact, I do know what's up with websites. And he goes, well, I'm doing a web design class that I have to take in my college course to finish for blah blah this, and I really don't want to take it, but they're making me take this extra blah blah whoop de woo, right? He's like, I know you're just taking my class to get a grade. What if would you mind doing this for me? I could give you the project, whatever, and you do it for me, and then I'll take care of you for class. It almost sounded exactly like that. And I was like, all right, Mr. Duncan, you got yourself a deal, my guy. He came the next day with a CD, and it was like all kinds of projects, and I fucking finished that bad boy that day.
You mean a compact disc?
Yeah, it's fucking a CD-ROM. Fucking finished that shit that day. Took it back to him. Hosted it on my website and was like, here's your site that you're supposed to make, and here's all the boom boom, and here's all the answers to all the questions. Boom bang. And he goes, all right, cool, woo-de-woo. And I'll tell you, I spent maybe, let's say I was supposed to be in that class 100 times. I spent 20 days in that class. And none of them I wouldn't ditch. Just so we're clear, not that class. Because the motherfucker would kick me out. And he would just be pissed off in the day, whatever woo-de-woo, and he would just take it out on me. And I'm sure many times I deserved it because I was, ornery, to say the least. But
Could see that.
obnoxious might be another word. But
Could see that too.
you know what I'm saying? But he would just be like, Justin, get out. I'm like, all right, cool. And I leave.
I got hit up today or yesterday by a student.
Oh, and I got a C in that class.
Oh,
Never
really?
had less than a C plus ever. He even showed us grades at the end of the school year, and looked at me and rolled his eyes. And I'm like, don't be mad at me. You always kick me out of class. I was trying to use the beaker.
I was trying to use the beaker.
Trying to use the beaker.
Just real quick, doctor said his
Chatter.
first email was at CompuServe.com.
Damn, that's old. That's old. But that boy like 38 some years old, probably like 39, 38 years old. Probably.
No, but I'm working in the same realm. I don't know if I had an email that early. My
He's
dad
gonna be
definitely
pissed. He's
did.
like, I'm 36. I'm 22.
But I just had a student hit me up on Instagram from back in the day. Not even back in the day, from 5 years ago, that moved out to Denver as well. But even kids that you like kick out of class all the time, and you end up but you gotta, you
Me and
kick him
Miss-
out of class at some point for a reason, or at least I did. And I know I kicked this kid out of my class plenty of times, but you still got love for him, and I still got a relationship with that kid, even coming through this late.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Shout out to relationships, because Mr. Duncan, me and him got in an argument about Nazis
About Nazis. There's
Yeah.
not a lot to argue
on
about
Facebook.
Nazis.
Oh yeah, apparently there is.
Yeah, like how do you hit him is the question.
This dude, no, because
How hard
you know
do
what
you
it
hit
was?
him?
How hard
Yeah.
you hit him?
Yeah.
You know what it was? It was one of them trolling memes, right? Where they release a meme and it looks like one thing, but like if you know what's up, it really means some other shit. And it was one of those ones that was like, men back in then, blah 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 blah. What happened to men like this, or some bullshit like that. That was the premise, right? And the picture was this rough ass dude on a motorcycle and on like a dirt road. You know what I mean? In like some kind of military gear, right? And if you didn't know what was up, you look at that and you go, "Oh yeah, they were so rough and hard, and people are all soft,
Masculine.
now. Yeah, right. People are soft and stuff, right? But in reality, he had a very clear SS on his sleeve, and that was a particular division of the Nazis that was on bikes and shit. These motherfuckers were like, there was like 30 of them, and they were on bikes. That was their whole division. They thought that was gonna be a way they could do war. I don't know how well it worked. There was only one of them, and yeah. But if you know what's up, you know what's up. And so I said that. I went on there and I was like, "Hey man, I know the premise of what you're saying, but it don't mean what you think it means." It was some cat that I went to school with. This is like 5 years ago, and this fool was like, "Oh well, this and that. I just feel the way it's supposed, this." And I'm like, I mean, yeah, but that's a Nazi. I'm like, that's the joke on you, but it's not you, it's whoever shares it, right? It's like, and Mr. Duncan jumps on and tells me, not all SS were Nazis and this and that, blah, 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 and starts going off and like trying to give me a history lesson on Nazis. And I'm like, all right, that might be true about the SS and some other Nazis and stuff and some Germans or whatever, but the ones on the bikes were definitely Nazis. Like, that was it. That's what their platoon was on. They were the Nazi bikers. Like, that's what they did. That was their job.
They signed up for that.
Be
Like,
Nazi
they knew.
on a bike. Like, well, now hiring Nazis on bikes. Oh, shit, I'm going to do that one. Like, that's what you signed up for. And he had an argument with that. Apparently he don't like me. He's mad.
Well, I can't say that all teachers were up to the par of myself.
Shout out to Mr. Duncan.
Yeah. Fake Mr. No, fuck you, Mr. Duncan, for fucking defending Nazis. Since you're not named anyway, so fuck you. But I do know who you are.
Oh, you know what I do know?
This fucking guy.
Dr. Chata is 45.
45? See?
Or he commented 45. I'm assuming that's what he means. I don't know if he was like the answer to life plus 3.
Or he just, maybe he's talking about Donald Trump.
It's not the answer to life, though, buddy. That's
I haven't been
the
paying
answer
attention to
the
Donald
universe.
Trump lately. What's
My
he
bad.
doing?
It's been a minute.
Who?
What's Donald Trump doing? I haven't been paying attention.
Donnie's just, he's up there trying to defend some shit. He fucked up a while ago because he lied, and they're like, well, you fucking, like, killed a bunch of people. And he's like, no, I didn't. It would have been way worse if I didn't do what I did. That's what they played.
My favorite
same
was
thing.
when he was in that meeting with the scientists about global climate change. And then they were like, well, we got to do something about it. He was like, well, it's going to cool down. And then, like, one of the responses was like, well, no, what we have is, like, the evidence that it's going to be this and this. He's like, well, science doesn't know.
The science doesn't know. It was ridiculous. He's just, I don't know.
I saw
They're
that headline
silly.
after I made that Facebook post about the climate. And so it
What you
annoyed
thinking
me.
about the climate? What'd you make about the climate? I don't think I saw a Facebook post on the climate.
Y'all
Shit's
don't see-
scary, though. And it's not even like climate change that is the biggest problem. The biggest problem has been happening for way too long in those states that they haven't been fucking actually letting anything naturally burn or happen, and now it's just literally blowing up in their face. And it's really sad because people are fucking struggling. Like, we think we got it bad out here with like the fucking smoke and the smog and like
No,
the
it's
fucking
wild over there.
it's
in, like,
terrible.
Oregon
But
and
over there, like,
San Francisco and
people
shit.
take fucking the masks off their face that they're wearing for
SoCal
COVID and that shit,
shit.
and their fucking face looks like their face looks like a miner taking their shit off. Like where like it's wild. It's wild. I can't even imagine what it must be like out there for the friends and the homies out there. And but a lot of the people that I even know out there are just like, they knew this shit was like bouts to come. That's why they're all fucking climate activists out there, because that shit happens first in those fucking turbid weather areas.
That was what my shit said. I said, for the last decade, I've listened to y'all complain about how the weather is getting crazier and crazier, as if scientists didn't spend the last 200 years warning us that with inaction, shit would get crazier and crazier. And then I listed a source for 200 years ago. And but sure, climate change is a hoax because your favorite celebrity or politician with vested interest says so. And yeah, I mean, people get mad when I say that stuff, but what you gonna do?
I mean, one of the things that I heard today, I was listening to some shit and they were talking about climate today, and they were talking specifically about like what's going to happen when whoever gets elected. And pretty much the diagnosis was, either way, shit's going to be bad. Because even if Joe Biden says this, that, and the third, he also has already said like, no, I'm not going to stop fracking.
Coal. Yeah.
Right? And the bottom line is they'll say whatever they want to say to get elected and then still keep the contracts to export oil.
Yeah, because it makes some money.
All the money. And they're going to, just like the way the Republicans want that same money, and like to pretend that those people are any different is I think a falsehood that they've tried to make us believe for a long time. But these people are the same, you know, up there with like, especially when it comes to oil, like a lot of that fucking money that goes into those campaigns that you hear about, all these millions of dollars, comes from fucking big companies like that, and oil that's not just giving to either side. Like, look at Colorado. Democrats really do run oil here now, in the most opposition to the Republican like party, but the Democrats have for a while, and they're very friendly to oil here. I mean, have become even like pretty friendly, not as friendly as they want, but it has, and our oil industry is still dying. They're still laying off employees because of COVID, because of the big shift that happened right when COVID happened with Saudi Arabia, when they fucking Saudi Arabia and Israel and all the shit going around in that part of the world right now too is fucking wild shit too. And that all fucking connects into us.
Fire.
All the countries that fucking have the highest COVID rates are the countries that support Donald Trump internationally. Brazil, India, fucking Israel just came up on the fucking list on like huge things. And those are all the countries internationally that like fucking get on their knees for Donald Trump, because they are all really fascist regimes. The Bolsonaristas, that's what they're called. Fucking fascists. The fucking people running India right now for discriminating against the Muslims in that country, in Kashmir. Fucking fascist. Fuck them. Like, and then what was the last one? Israel. That's an easy one. Fucking fascist. And like, shout out to my friends that are Jewish. I'm not saying nothing about that part of Israel, right? But the regime that runs that shit is not cool, and is fucking murdering and killing people in Palestine, and has continued to do so. We've continued to sell weapons to this country as the United States, and as like almost a testing ground, that they fucking let them use all these weapons against the fucking Palestinian people for all this crazy shit. It's fucking wild. But what are the fucking top 4 countries with COVID rates and fucking deaths? Those 4. United States and the other 3 I just mentioned. It's fucking ridiculous. It just seems like, oh gosh, the people who took it real serious and were like, we're going to buckle down and do this and like just take it serious and not make it a political issue. That is the number one thing that we did wrong, and that these other countries followed, is they made it a fucking political issue, not just to just do it. You know, we can get on board to do things as Americans if it's not political, if we just let it be like, everybody's gonna do this, We do it. We fucking save whales. We fucking cut up fucking 6-pack rings so the turtles don't fucking eat them and shit.
I did that the other day because you told me.
We do all that shit because if you don't make it political, it's fine. But when you allow something like this that is monumental in a society to become political and divide people for your own whatevers, which we're seeing blow up in Donald Trump's face right now with the like reports of him knowing about how dangerous it was, playing it down, and fucking sticking to his guns on that fucking argument. And where it's like, gosh, we see lots of examples around the world where the same things were happening and things were treated differently and the results were much different, and we're in a different place. And it comes from this defense of the economy that really ends up hurting the economy in the long run and helps his campaign and helps those people who just want to support him no matter what, because they're just out there owning libs all day. They love to own libs, and as long as they're owning libs, they don't give a fuck about what Donald Trump does, as long as they're owning libs. And I'm just, I'm getting real tired of it. I know you've been tired of it, and I've had a little bit more tolerance myself, but fucking A, but it's just a bunch of spare parts.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, that was, I mean, to be honest, I feel like motherfuckers don't really know what would happen if the climate gets funny. And we have a lot of models that can, like, predict the easy stuff, like tornadoes and fucking wildfires.
But it's like that's
and
like the
hurricanes, right? But it's like you can't like those models without all of the info put into the model. It literally, there's no way it can predict, what happens when the permafrost melts, or what happens when the icebergs melt. So when you're melting icebergs, I get that it's water and stuff, but that shit there's air trapped in that shit that's been there for a long time, and not all of it is oxygen. Not all of it is oxygen. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of stuff that, because there's so much everywhere, there's a lot of stuff that will go, people don't really take into consideration as far as like what could or will happen. And it's one of those things that you really can't even guess. It's like, well, what's gonna happen?
I think that's
third
level event for this shit, though.
Well, but that shit
I think there's
going
to be so much worse shit that happens first before, like, the wild shit that comes out of the air that's, sent or fucking millennia old.
To be honest, it'll hit one after another. So
it's going to be the water, then it's going to be the fucking crazy, like, surge of water that comes in and out like it does with the fucking hurricanes. It's going to be wild. Like, the thing with the models that I think you're absolutely right about is they can predict these first events to some accuracy, right? Mm-hmm. Like the first things that are going to happen, but because of the implications of those things that they cannot predict in these situations. Maybe they could predict it in California over the last 50 years. If this fire starts, what do we do? And we've seen that they fucked that up completely. They didn't listen to the people who've been there for a long time and knew how to fucking run that shit and decided to just, save homes. I mean, the bottom line was property in this fucking situation, which is sad as fuck because it all gets destroyed in the end. Because if you decide to do this kind of shit in the name of property, it's so fucking dumb. But it is American fucking capitalism, and how we treat the land here is like, if we're gonna fucking be able to live there, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna fucking put these houses here, and they do, and then they fucking burn down and they cry. And it's just like, but you're also living in a place that should burn pretty regularly.
They don't have.
And then they stop that. And then they stop that because of this. And then they have fucking giant burns because they have not had any burns that are taking away the small vegetation that just will fucking burn out and not light everything else on fire.
And fools are saying it like it's brand new. Like, boy, people didn't.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah.
People didn't been known about that shit.
Been knowing.
You know what I'm saying? Anyways, what time is it now? It's got to be 9:50. It's almost 10 o'clock. I think we could probably wrap that up. What do you think over there, Eric? You got anything else you want to say to the peoples?
We did have one question from Beto asking, did you guys ever do Pete Answers? Do y'all know what that's about?
Nope.
Answers? Oh, it sounds familiar. He might have said something to me about it, but I don't remember.
Is that like an Ask Jeeves alternative?
I don't
Pete
know.
Answers definitely brings it. Like it sounds familiar, but I don't know what that is.
I remember. Do you remember Lycos, the dog, the like lab,
Oh, yeah,
the Labrador?
yeah,
They
yeah.
had the commercials and shit. Lycos was a big one back then.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there was another Ask
Y'all
Jeeves
didn't have an
kinda one.
AOL Instant Messenger username?
Them CDs. Oh, AIM.
Yeah,
I don't know how people did. Like AIM was text
What was your
messaging.
AIM name?
Java's. No, it was like. I think it was Java 1752.
Java 7.
It was something else before that. I can't remember what it was. Something Java 1752.
Hurry up and buy.
Bethel came back with or Peter Answers.
Peter Answers?
No, that didn't. No.
You know what was that? Some kind of I think it was like a parody somebody made off of Ask Jeeves. And it was called Peter Answers, and you'd put in some shit, and it would say some ridiculous shit. Or give you like a ridiculous website or something.
like
If
that
I remember
one
correctly,
that
but I don't know for
Goo
sure.
Gizzle. You ever been to googizzle.com?
No,
Gizzle,
that
what?
sounds hard. I've never been to googizzle.com.
Go for it. Look it up.
Damn,
I think that's the name of the
That's
website.
hard. Have you guys ever been to www.lrvtpodcast.com?
I went there once.
Once my ass. Y'all motherfuckers need to go to www.lrvtpodcast.com. Follow us on all the shit at LRVT I think we're going to wrap that up. That's been it for us. Y'all got anything else to say? Is that it or no?
Hey, thank y'all for hanging with us if you were on the live stream. Otherwise, hit up Beer Man right over there. Go grab your 6-pack after you come back from work,
Hell
from the
yeah.
mountains, all that shit. Hit up Mike, tell him I sent you. He'll take care of you for sure.
Mike, the motherfucking beer man, and Keeks for the weed. Shout out my motherfucking man and them.
Just a quick thank you to Dr. Chada, Beto, and T. Johnson for being on live and asking questions.
Hell yeah.
This is a show for the people, so shout out to you guys. Just kind of end things off. I'll bring it back to one of the things that you guys were talking about, which was TV show like theme songs and punk, but it's pop punk. Shout out to Simple Plan for making the theme song to What's New Scooby Doo. That shit banged.
Simple Plan made the theme to What's New Scooby Doo.
That's a show?
That sounds
Or
like
just a Scooby Doo like theme song.
Like the
that's
new
what
movie one?
That's got to be what the theme song is
Like
called.
the Steve Zahn one?
It must have been for the Scooby Doo movie or some shit. Don't play too much or else we got to cut that shit out.
We're going to probably cut all this anyway. Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. You're going to kick us off
I'm
Facebook.
playing this on the phone so y'all can tell.
Yeah, we're going until they kick us off. Fuck Facebook. Fuck you,
Fuck
Mark.
him.
Fuck Mark.
Mark Zuckerberger.
This one.
I like the screech.
Skirt, skirt. Later, y'all.
See y'all next week.
Adios. Going live is fun.